Welcome back to the Gweilo 60 channel. It's coming up on the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, where the Japanese were in China. And on September 3rd, they're going to have a big military parade in Beijing at Tiananmen Square, showing off all of their new upgraded weapons and equipment and all that other stuff. But that's not really what this video is about. But it sort of is in a way. See, back after the Second World War, the KMT, the nationalists, were in power in China, and at that time the United States and China were allies in the war, and I think everybody knows that. But some of the things that they don't know, there was a Cairo Declaration that was signed in 1943, and another, a Potsdam Proclamation that was signed in 1945, which basically stated that all of the territory that was taken by Japan, that was China's, was to be handed back to China. But they had a little bit of a problem because a lot of this stuff was in the South China Sea. It wasn't on mainland China. So what the U.S. Navy did is they gave them 4 ships. It was called the Lend-Lease Agreement. They ended up giving them the ships in the long run, just sort of gifting them to the Chinese Navy. But at that time, because China didn't have a navy, they didn't have the ability to go and take their properties back. The U.S. Navy landed them, leased them, 4 different ships. I think one was the USS Decker, was the largest. It was a destroyer escort. So that's good. In 1946, they set sail to the South China Sea. Yes, because the Americans believed at that time, were in agreement with China, that the South China Sea was the property of China before. And yes, the Spratly Islands and the Parcel Islands were part of this taking back the properties of China at that time. I'm not going to make no friends of the Philippines with this video, but you know, history is history. So in 1946, they sailed in different directions, and one ship would go to the Parcel Islands, one would go to Spratly Islands. There's a number of other properties down in that area that they wanted to take back. And this is all condoned and backed by the United States of America, which is sort of strange, because you fast forward to this day and age, and the United States is using this as sort of a proxy war between the Philippines and China, or to set up a resistance to something that they okayed. But as soon as, say, 1949 rolled around, and the communist government took out the nationals, and the nationals ran off to Taiwan, now it's a different story, because they weren't the bootlickers of the American government anymore. It was the Communist Party of China that now owned all of the South China Sea. That was condoned before by the Americans and such. So now what they do is they try to plot the Filipinos against the Chinese, and using the opposite of their stance in 1945, knowing that this whole area used to be Chinese controlled, used to be the Chinese owned properties in the South China Sea. Go figure, South China Sea. And now they're using it against China, and using Philippines as sort of the proxy, the middleman, the one that's going to take it on the chin if anything ever happens down here. It's no different than using the Ukraine against Russia, or taking the stance on Taiwan and arming Taiwan against the mainland, trying not to have a reunification of the entirety of China. It's you know, a thorn in the side, trying to slow down their economic and political growth around the world. It's just another tool in the tool belt of the American political elite to thwart China and the reunification of all of China as it was before World War II. So in retrospect, China actually owes the United States of America and the United States of America Navy a big thank you, gratitude for assisting them in the reunification of China and their claim on the South China Sea, because at that time the Americans were 100% on board with how China owned that part of the world and had for centuries type thing, and they acknowledged that. The only reason they changed their stance was because the Nationals, the KMT, Kuomintang, was no longer in charge of China, and the Communist Party of China was in charge of China. And now that this big military 80th anniversary of the end of World War II is actually happening in Beijing on September 3rd, as I said. The Japanese government is lobbying other countries around not to attend this parade, this celebration of 80 years of independence from the Japanese people. Why are they doing that? Well, because they don't want to own up to their atrocities that were committed in China during that time. The experiments, the medical experiments, the raping of Nanjing, just the brutality of the Japanese military and government at that time against the Chinese people, which I find a little disturbing, just for the fact that they knew they did something wrong. They admitted to it. Now they're sort of backtracking on that, and they're playing sort of a little bit of a victim. And the only victims in that were the Chinese people. So now that the bag is open, and you can see that the United States, the allies at that time, backed China, and they're reclaiming the South China Sea, the Spratly Islands, the Parcel Islands, and a number of other things, places and stuff in the South China Sea, and they did that because it was the right thing to do, because the Japanese had taken it from China at that time, and it had to go back to China, and the United States, as I say, helped them reclaim that, the idea that they turn it around and they use it as a tool, and the only people that are going to get hurt because of this turnaround are the Philippine people and the Chinese people, and I don't think that's fair. I think that's the wrong way to go. What do you think? And I'd like people to you can find it online, the Cairo Declaration 1943 and the Potsdam Proclamation of 1945. Go and read these, and you'll see exactly what I see, that all of this land that was taken by the Japanese was reclaimed by the Chinese, the Communist Party of China. There is one out there that hasn't been claimed yet, and that's Taiwan, but that's going to come back to China, and it's going to come back peacefully, because the people in Taiwan are going to understand that they are Chinese people of Chinese descent. They're living on Chinese property, and there's more benefit to them to be part of the Chinese community than being an outlier and a tool for the American government. And that, my friends, is another video from yours truly, Gweilo 60. A little bit of a history exam here, but hey, it's the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, and on September 3rd, and that's when the Japanese gave up. And yes, they are playing the "Oh Poor Me" because of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but it's either do it that way or lose more Allied troops, people, Chinese, and you know the score. Like, comment, subscribe, push that share button, don't forget to resubscribe, hit the bell, and until next time, thanks for watching. Peace out. Bye now.